In darkness, the goddess flips a coin. 8 threads she weaves to conjoin. Bound by passions they need to sate, these shall form a twist of fate.
Lost is defined as unable to find one's way, or denoting something that has been taken away and cannot be recovered. So, I am lost in every sense of the word.
Yeah, when I first left my home, I was looking to get lost, so I think what it comes down to for me is that being lost sort of feels like freedom in a way.
When I'm lost, I look for a map. And if I don't have a map, well, then I'll just ask for directions. And, well, if nobody's around to ask for directions, then I find a tree and I hug it. I've never not found a tree.
We begin down within the crypts of the Sorrows Sworn. There, Gret, Fennec, Sazey, and Kynden digest the information just given to them by Grimmock, that Wulfgarde is a place that holds some significance to Vrathia, a place where his journey began during the War of Demise, and perhaps continues there now.
So we know where we're headed, and it's civilization, thankfully.
Right, I might skip out on this one.
Fine, let's go.
What? No?
No, that's... Sorry, Fennec, what do you mean?
I'm not too keen on going to Wulfgarde.
And that is it?
That sounds like reason enough to me.
I don't know. I wasn't too keen on fighting that bonehead. But sometimes you've got to do things that make you uncomfortable.
Right.
Listen, we've all got a choice here. Fennec's made a choice not to come, and that's perfectly all right.
No, it's not, because I go where Fennec goes, so he's making a choice for both of us.
Then I guess you're not coming.
What?
Wow, Sazey, you're really excited to get rid of us, aren't you?
I'm just excited to get this over with, all right? I know there's a lot of danger ahead of us, and I'm tired of putting you guys in the middle of it. And if you staying behind means you and Kynden aren't in danger, then that's fine. And Gret, you're more than welcome to stay behind with them as well.
Look, I want to help you, Sazey. That's not the point here. And, Kynden, you can go without me.
Nope, I don't go anywhere without you.
All right, it's decided then. Sazey begins to walk in the direction of Wulfgarde by herself.
Kynden grabs Fennec's hand and just marches forth following Sazey, trying to drag him along.
And Gret will hurriedly catch up to everyone and be like, yes, of course, I'm glad that we're all going. We do have a dragon that we can use to take us, don't we?
Oh,
You hear a rattling on the ground.
You promised you would free Grimmock, and Grimmock could have some of your bones. Don't leave me! Don't leave!
And he's just on the in the center of the crypt, rocking back and forth as a little bit of static is going up and down.
I do give you more. Just please don't leave Grimmock in the dark. He wants to see some more of the world.
I suppose we do need that, the container that he's in.
Yes, and Grimmock did help us. I am okay with releasing him here back inside of the dungeon, where the only people he's going to meet are people trying to steal from this crypt anyways.
Is there any way we can destroy this crypt?
Why?
Because Callista seemed to want it to stay around. So why don't we fuck with it?
Sazey, with their keen sense of hearing, hears this, turns back towards Fennec. That's a good idea.
Oh no, you can keep going on to Wulfgarde. We'll just meet you there, Sazey.
And then I perform Mold Earth and makes it concave on itself, the crypt.
I'll say that if you want to do that, because Mold Earth is a cantrip, so if you want to do that, you can take some time to destabilized sections
Okay.
of this area. You have seen from where part of the ceiling has fallen in, there are a bunch of cracks, and I'll say that with enough time and with a high enough roll, you will be able to cause this entire section to crumble in on itself. Is anybody wanting to do anything to help this action as well? And are you leaving Grimmack in this whilst you're doing so?
I will grab Grimmack and the container as carefully as possible,
Right.
like dangling some bones out in front of it that are not from any of us. Open the container, allowing him to scurry up towards the bones before I take off.
Beautiful. As you pick up the container, Grimmack will be like,
Oh, thank you, kind Gret. Oh, I will only take little bones from you so you can still walk around. Oh, look at those.
he consumes the bones and then just scurries off into the dark, and you lose sight of him. You just hear as he's consuming it. Fennec and Kynden, anything you're doing to help Sazey in this moment?
Nah.
I'm just waving to Grimmack. Bye, Mr. Grimmack. Thank you.
We did take the head, though.
I'm assuming that you have the preserved head of one of the Sorrowsworn.
Correct.
You have the jacket that Gret found.
Correct.
And you have the satchel that Sazey found with the remnants of the journal as well as the dagger.
All those things.
So, Sazey, what did you roll? So, be a d20 plus your wisdom and proficiency.
19.
19?
Yeah.
Wonderful. As everybody else is huddling behind Sazey, you stand in the entranceway to this crypt overlooking everything that's there. There's the blood and viscera that's still sort of seeping around from when the bone golem was destroyed, and you stand there marshalling your druidic might.
From the ground, you see tiny little pebbles raise around, and my white hairs start to float up in the air like gravity is no longer surrounding me. I shoot out one hand towards a pillar and pull back, and one of the rocks pulls out from it. The pillar shoots down. I reach out to the other pillar in the corner and do the same thing, and it shoots down and it starts to crumble as I pull myself back out of the doorway, and the crypt starts to concave in on itself. As I come out, the rocks follow me out of the doorway, and then I gently land like an elegant little dancer. The gravity kind of falls down along with me, and I turn around and continue my march towards Wulfgarde.
I'll call out to Skyfire with a big whistle that I can't do in real life.
You call out with the whistle, and it echoes in your mind, and you can hear off in the distance, I'm on my way. I just have to finish something. And you can hear in your mind the roaring echo of some kind of battle that Skyfire seems to be in. But as you stand there and call out, this dust cloud bursts out and pebbles go scattering, and Sazey just walks out from the dust cloud and just keeps on walking off in the direction of Wulfgarde. The rest of you going to follow along with Sazey whilst you wait for Skyfire to come?
Just to make the pickup easier.
Great.
Kynden is pushing Fennec.
If I fucking have to.
Kynden, I would like you to make a perception check for me, please.
8.
Okay, great. You push Fennec, and Fennec carries on ahead, and the four of you are swallowed by the forest. The night sky is blocked by the clouds up above, and you can hear the winds that are swirling through, and soft snowflakes are beginning to fall. As a single snowflake falls through the air, it catches what little light is coming down from up above, and there is this odd rainbow hue to it as it shifts and twirls, and that rainbow light takes us, and we find ourselves in a space of brightness. Color is swirling all around, and there is a moment of peace and tranquility. Rusco, you find yourself floating. You don't have a physical form as of yet, but you feel like your essence is there. It feels similar to when you first arrived, when you were first broken away from your family. Like you've been ripped from one place and you're trying to find where to land, but you can't see any destinations that are there. There is a tugging and a link that is drawing you towards someone else. You know in your heart and soul that that is a lad. But you also know that in this moment, you are the one that is in control. You are the one that is choosing the destination of where you go. So I would like to know in this moment, who is Rusco thinking of? And what is running through his mind right now that is driving his push through these plains?
There is a temptation and a pull to try and head back home to the Feywild. He almost directs them that way. And then he remembers what he's trying to do here, which is get information to help the material world that has been his home for a very long time, longer than he ever lived in the Feywild. So then he thinks of the one person he can think of that can help him use what information he gets and can perhaps help and guide with questioning. And he pulls towards Velgar.
You feel yourself drawn towards the presence of Nazran Velgar, like a beacon in the distance. This node draws you in. You see this small blue aurora in the distance, in amongst all of this rainbow light that is around you. And you direct all of your energy towards it. You soar through, and as that blue encompasses you, you find yourself stepping through a shadow of complete darkness. You feel that moisture in the air, that scent of roses and life. You know that you have found yourself back in the Malthian Grotto once more. You're in a different area than where you departed. You are in one of the alcoves. You can see that Nazran Velgar is standing there. There is an entire case of scrolls that is beside him, and he is pinning some up. He's creating his murder board within the Malthian Grotto, string aligning between different various aspects on a map, and you can see sketchings of Callista and Baron, and you can see little notes that have been scrolled and put up. And as you enter in, you can feel the presence of a lad behind you as well, but there is this thin sort of veil of darkness that is over the top of you, and you know that you are peering through the shadow. You have stepped into it, but you have not exited it yet. You can do so willingly. You know you can. But there is a moment for you where you just clock that this is happening, and you can feel the pathway that led you here and the pathway that leads to other areas as well. These spots of darkness are interlinked. Something that your mind takes note of as you're piecing all of these arcane secrets together.
I'll stand there for a moment and feel a lad behind him and just reach back, grab a lad and step through and pull a lad with him. You're not going anywhere, buddy. You owe me answers.
Oh, I wouldn't dream of it.
Just in case you had any thoughts.
And you can feel the tension in the flesh of a lad as you step through the shadow, and the two of you emerge, and Wulfgarde immediately turns around and raises a hand, and then looks at you, looks at the hand, shakes his head, and shakes it down by his side. Mr. Wanwa, I see you found unexpected company.
I did. I found the one who was messing with the White Rose's grotto.
It was a lad.
Yes.
Interesting masquerade that you were choosing there.
He was stuck. He was stuck in a fragment of the realm of darkness. He thought that I might be able to help him get out. That's why he was calling for me.
And a bargain was struck, dear Mr. Wulfgarde.
Yes, getting him out of there in exchange for information. He is going to give us information on Saldur, on Vrathia or the Baron, and information on Dark Vigil and what they're trying to achieve.
Fascinating. Quite the treasure trove that you have stumbled into, Mr. Wanwa. I am truly appreciative that you would put yourself in such danger for the cause.
If a deal wasn't struck, I don't know if I would have been able to get out of there either.
Well, we all know that Rusco has his ways, don't we? Indeed, Serpent. Indeed. I must admit I was not keen on working with you, but Xavier did say that you were to be trusted in a certain set of circumstances, although can I gather that this freedom that you have gifted unto a lad means that you are now a free agent within the Prime Material as well? Well, I mean, there are certain liberties that I may be able to take now.
And there were also limitations on it as well, remember?
Marvelous. I'm glad to see that you understand dealings with Fae, Mr. Wanwa.
Yes, I understand.
So, do you wish to be present for the questioning, or do you wish to have your travel sped to where your allies now tread?
I fear my allies might need me, but I also fear that a lad may not be as truthful without my presence here. The bargain was struck with me, not yourself.
Wisely spoken. Yes, indeed. Ooh, such a one. This is why I like working with you, Rusco. You keep me on my toes. Well, I guess it's time for us to get comfortable. We'll see what we can find, and then we will get you back where you are needed most, Rusco.
Thank you, Wulfgarde.
You have our thanks in this. Yet again, you have come through in our hour of need. And hopefully, with what we find from this one, we'll be able to avoid another catastrophe.
That's the hope.
Oh, this is going to be fun. All eyes on me. Marvelous. So, are we going to do it good cup, bad cup style? Or are we going to, just pry it out of me one by one? Shut up! And you see a lad shrink back a little bit.
We are going to do it by the laws of a Fae pact. I held up my heart for the bargain. You won't give up the information without hassle.
Fine. Gosh, such a bore. And here I was thinking we were going to be able to have some fun with this. Fine. What do you want to know? Where shall we start? And we begin to pull away from this scene as a lad sits down and begins to perch with his knees sticking out, hands down in front, very frog-like kind of pose, just looking between Wulfgarde and Rusco, answering the questions that are rapid-firing at him.
Rusco will pull out a notebook and start, taking notes of information as it comes out.
No problem. You and Wulfgarde begin adding to the murder board and getting all of the various pieces and starting to connect some of the greater dots that are involved in this puzzle. As we fade away from the Malcian grotto, the sounds of running water within this cavern transform into the crashing of waves and the creaking of wood as we find ourselves aboard a ship, a warship that sails down the Titan's vein, a fog cloud stirring around it and creating perpetual cover. The figurehead of this ship is a roaring sea serpent that is reaching forth, its mouth agape, and you can see that there are more bone inlays into it with a variety of precious metals that have been molded into glyphs along its side, and they are flaring with energy. You can see that there is a multitude of these that are spiraling up the two masts of this ship as well, and it's hard to tell what is occurring in the world around you, but there is a perpetual breeze that is blowing and howling into these sails that is propelling this ship along at a significant speed, even against the current. There is a continuous song that can be heard aboard this vessel. There are individuals that are wearing these beautiful stormy blue and aquamarine vestments, these long robes, and you can see dark leathers underneath with the sea serpent Ouroboros that is embossed upon them. And they hold onto the sides of the ship and they sing, and as they do, it sounds like the echoes of thunder and lightning and rain that is coming together to create this song of natural wonders that encapsulates you, and it just sort of has a rhythm all of its own, and you get swept up by it. There is this feeling of riding a storm, of being at the forefront and facing it down with rain pouring in your face and your wind blowing in your hair, and there's just this adrenaline and exultation that is felt throughout the entire vessel. Standing at the helm, just looking off with a crackling of red lightning surrounding their eyes, is Odiel Xanaderis, this Asimar individual. He's holding his golden serpent helm in one hand, and he has this beautiful, long, flowing black hair that has been shaved on the sides and is tied into a warrior's tail that is braided, and it's just sort of blowing in the breeze. And he's just staring out and singing under his breath along and moving with the sounds of this ship and the choir that rides its waves. Andromeda, you, Broken Spear, Aiko, and an unconscious Val are also aboard this ship. You've been sailing for a few hours now. You can see that there are some of the Templars and Stormsinger clerics that you fought on the shore, as well as the neophytes, the skirmishers with the dusky skin and the red mohawks. They are all milling about, some heading below decks, others that are on the foredeck as well. They're giving you space, and you can see some of them are looking at you curiously, others glaring at you. Surprisingly, the neophytes, the dusky-hued individuals, seem to have more venom in their gaze when they are looking at your squad. The Asimar, the blue-skinned individuals with the red lightning upon them, you get this feeling of mutual respect. There is not open hostility at all, even though you just recently crossed blades. What are you doing upon the deck of this ship? in this moment.
Andromeda looks up at Broken Spear. Watch over her.
Always. It is good to have a task. You watch as the creaking and grinding of stone on stone as his head moves to catch a wave, whoosh, splashing over the side, and he ever so slightly moves out of the way of the incoming spray. Being on such an open body of water discomforts me. I will take Val to the cabin that was promised to us. Watch over her there. Find me if you have need. And he holds out a hand to you, and as he does so, he gives you a very pointed look with his ruby inset eyes. I'd like you to make an insight check for me.
11. Andromeda reaches out to grasp his hand.
Your earlier feelings of understanding this entity have faded. The song that is playing around you and echoing is filling you with its vibrancy and its life, and it's making it difficult to tune into your blood song and feel those same rhythms. But after doing a warrior's grip with him, his hand slides down yours, and you feel that he leaves something in the palm of your hand, and then he bends down, picks up Val as gently as a parent holding a small child, and then moves off to take her below decks and into the cabin that was gifted to you by Odile.
Andromeda is going to crouch down and fix the leather lacings on her white boot so that she's eye level with Aiko. She's going to check her palm as she does so.
As you open your hand and check your palm, there is a piece of stone that has come directly from the flesh of Broken Spear, and I say flesh very liberally as he is made of stone. But there is this beautiful crystalline structure to it, and as you touch it, you can feel some of that stone flake away, and it is this beautiful ruby that is underneath there, uncut with threads of black that run throughout it, and you can feel this resonance within, and as you're able to have this within your grasp, you feel a deeper connecting to that rhythm that is inside of you, and it's pressing against the rhythms of these storm singers that are around you.
Andromeda is going to quickly put it in a different pocket so that it's the only jewel in that pocket of her leathers. And she quickly whispers to Aiko, I was going to go talk to our host. Do you want to come with me, or maybe kind of take a wander?
Would you be more comfortable if I was with you, or should I try and get the lay of the land elsewhere?
Maybe do a circle, kind of circulate a little bit, and then maybe come and check back in, just see what the vibe is. And
yeah, great. I mean, I'm great at seeing what the vibe is. Yeah. That's my whole deal, It
really is.
Yeah, I just go, and then I'm like, oh, that's the vibe? Cool, I'm going to enhance the vibe.
Right, or God, any kind of papers lying around or something.
Oh.
Yeah, but just whatever. Maybe get us some drinks or something.
Oh, yeah. No, totally. I can get us drinks. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. Actually... And he holds out a hand, and his hand is fully shaking. Yeah, you know what? I'll go do that. Hey, I know I'm probably not the one that you would want to be awake in this circumstance, but I'm really glad that you're here with me. And I know that no matter what happens, I know that we're gonna do this for Val, and you got this.
Aiko?
Yeah?
I'm going to tell you a little secret.
Okay, yeah, hit me.
Yeah. You're like the freaking icon. I like heard you singing one time, and yeah, I'm just like really excited to like be talking with you. So, I mean, like, yes, I for sure would love to have Val awake right now, but like, yeah, you're like a wordsmith. You're like a magical wordsmith. And I feel like I have like a really good feeling about this whole situation.
Great. I'm so glad. Yeah, you're really kind of seeing behind the veil right now. Normally this is, you're getting the real Wandering Whimsy experience
like the inside
right now. Yeah, nobody sees this.
Okay. I feel like we've been very suspicious crouching here talking for a while, so why don't you just go get drinks? Okay.
I'll head on out.
Okay, cool.
And as Aiko walks away, you feel some of that warmth and that music that he brings as he has given you a bardic inspiration.
Andromeda will make her way up to Odiel.
As you come forward and stand beside him, there is this bubble of electricity that is around him, and as you step close to it, there is a piercing through the veil, as now that you are close to him and looking out, you can see beyond the fog and the mist that is surrounding this ship. And as you do, you watch as the coast on the banks of the river are just flying by. This ship is moving with speed that defies convention. You've traveled a little bit up and down the Titan's vein before, and in particular going south away from the spindles is a much more hazardous journey and takes significantly longer, but there is some additional force that is propelling this warship along, like it is being guided by an additional hand, and Odiel is just there confidently staring out.
Andromeda, so casually takes her great axe off from her back, plants it down on the ship, leans against it. Okay, I admit, you traveled in style.
I always find that you have to search for the artistry in life. You can't just expect it to be there. You have to bring it as well sometimes.
Uh-huh. So, like, how full of bullshit are you?
He turns, and as he does, the fog closes up in front as his gaze comes full on yours. That red lightning fades from his eyes, and you can see that he has these magnificent serpents that are upon his cheeks, and they ride all the way down his neck, and they go and twirl around his arms with the tails ending on the backs of his hands. They look like tattoos, but they're entirely made up of red lightning that is coruscating up and down. Looks at you. I'm not full of it at all.
Mm-hmm.
This is me. This is who we are. We are the Storm Singers. We are the ones who bring forth the tempest, and the tempest responds to our will.
Okay.
You have a little bit of it within you. I saw it upon the beach. The way you were able to just knock so many down with such a single focus of your willpower. And that transformation that happened to you. The way that you were able to manipulate the air and the water so it appeared as though there was a glacier and an aurora that was around you. It was magnificent. I've never seen anything like it. It was truly beautiful.
Thanks, I guess, but I don't really know anything about that. It just kind of like happens. So you're looking for information on that. You're kind of barking up the wrong tree.
Oh, no, I don't need to understand how you work, Andromeda. I've seen it. It's magnificent. I'd happily sit and watch you upon the fields of battle, showcasing your strength any day.
Yeah, it sounds like you were sitting and watching everything that was happening on the beach, but you said this is some sort of rite of passage for you. So my question is, why were you the one sitting on your sweet ship and letting all your little friends do the dirty work for you?
It's very fair. I understand why you would have such a judgment upon me, but the burden that I bear is twofold. I am expected to be the fist of Zades himself. I am expected to be the one that can bring his tempest and his wrath down upon those who require a reckoning. But I must also be the one to lead as well. And one cannot always lead from the front. A significant portion of my power had been spent dispelling the magics around that glade.
Oh.
And so I was doing what I could to support my men whilst they were delivering the crystal to the decks.
I get that. Huh, so I guess you're like all tapped out for the day.
Not in the slightest.
Well, I'm here on the ship, and you said you had a lot to tell me about your culture and like your whole deal, so I'm all ears.
You see, the problem is, Andromeda, and I can sense...
It's Jarl de la Phouka. To non-family members, of course.
Deception check for me.
13.
My apologies, Jarl de la Phouka. I did not mean offense.
Thank you.
But I do sense resistance within you. You're not willing to hear the words that I have to say because you aren't ready to believe yet. Because you don't even believe in yourself yet. Why is that?
Well, like, I'm just on a bit of a journey, I'd say. No, okay, I like see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. I am asking you questions about yourself. Who is Zades?
Why, Zades is the Lord of Storms, the god of strength and tempest. One of the prime deities of the Pantheon.
And why did he want you to go take a big rock?
It's not so much that Zades asked us to go and take a big rock, as you say. We have come to realize that there is a weakness within the realms. And as the strong arm of Zades, it is our duty, no, our responsibility to go forth and ensure that the people are properly protected and guided into the next phase, into the next age. Tell me, the wars that have ravaged this realm alone within the last 30, 40 odd years. You've had necromancers, you've had dragons, you have had heralds from gods aplenty coming and laying claim. Why is that?
I don't know.
Indeed. And that's a problem, Andromeda. The fact that you cannot answer that question.
Yeah, I didn't really... Yeah.
See? You need us. Whether you realize it or not. But don't worry. I'm going to show you something.
Okay.
I'm going to show you the strength of Zades in all its glory. When we get to Wulfgarde, you'll see that the storm can break the anvil.
If you're all about protection, where the hell were you when Haven was in need?
We weren't welcome. Zades did not wish us to be there. Otherwise, he would have told us. His silence echoes because the people of Haven were clearly not worth saving at that time.
Okay.
the biggest holdout against what we bring and what we believe resides at the anvil. When we break that, you'll all start to understand. It's all right. I know that this is a lot to swallow, but there are individuals, there are members amongst an order that reside upon this land, and they are working alongside of us. I believe that they were there at Haven as well. They were there ensuring that the proper steps were taken so that this realm could be made safe once more. Don't worry, between the Storm Singers and Dark Vigil, this realm will be made whole again. I promise you, but I must get back to guiding my ship. When we get to Wulfgarde, you will see. You will see and you will believe.
Okay, great. That just sounds great.
Odile turns and that lightning crackles in the air around him once more, and you see more of the landscape speeding by. As Andromeda's worry and fears and anxiety roil within her, her pink ponytail blustering in the breeze. That wind.
What have you done?
The wind takes us. We find ourselves upon Dragonback once more. 4 figures clutching to the sapphire-scaled hide of Skyfire. The dragon breaks through the clouds up above, wings flare out. And for a moment there is calm, and there is a beautiful sight before you. The first time in a while, Kynden, Fennec, Sazey, and Gret, you see the stars in their multitudes. You see the swirling of pink and green and red and blue nebulas up above. And you can see the 3 moons that reside over this realm in their various states of waxing and waning. Skyfire speeds as only a dragon can. You can see that there is a little bit of frosting and scarring upon her hide. Her glass armor is scratched in more places. But this is a dragon who lives and breathes the outside world, improving themselves time and time again. As you soar towards Wulfgarde, you have a moment. I would like to go around and check in with the 4 of you. What is happening for each of you internally in this moment?
Kynden, clutching to Fennec, holds tight and looks up at the wondrous sight. The air gushes past her and she closes her eyes, lost in the wistfulness of the moment. She thinks of Aiko and how his hair dances on stage, and she sends to him, "I wish you could see this. The magical 3 moons above the clouds, stars aplenty, all the colors, just like you."
Next to Kynden, there is a shimmering in the air that only she can see. The face of Aiko with his blue ombre hair that is all askew from being atop Andromeda as she raged and leapt across a battlefield. Kynden, you hear the creaking and swaying of a ship. I'm glad you're not here, Kynden. Where we are, I cannot explain, but I fear for Val, and I fear for Andromeda. We're safe. I just wish I had something magical to share with you as well.
Your voice is enough, my sweet friend. Stay true, stay safe. Stay rad. We're off to Wulfgarde.
So are we. Hopefully we'll see you there.
See you soon.
Fennec just sits in dread. Probably second of all the places he does not want to be. It's number 2 on the list is probably Wulfgarde. He's kind of stewing in that since he has a lot of time to think about it, contemplating just jumping off. But he also doesn't want to leave his party, so he's torn, especially Kynden. So he sits and stews and frets and looks down.
Sazey was having very similar thoughts. Sazey begins by looking up at the stars in awe of their greatness and feeling infinitesimally so very small. She turns her head to look at her companions and then looks longingly at the ground below, thinking to herself, what if I just jumped? What if I just ended it all here? I would be responsible for no one anymore. No more pain, no more sorrow, no more expectation, no more sadness, no more anything. No more feeling lost. And then she feels a shift beneath her as though Skyfire can sense that something's off about her. So she shakes her head and continues to look at the stars.
Gret is feeling pretty good about himself. He's just had one successful mission where nobody died. We defeated a bone golem using our cunning, wits, and strength, and had an honorable exit for the little ooze creature that left. So he's doing great. He's also on top of a dragon, and having a bird's eye view of things always gives him a real sense of clarity. It's at this moment that he realizes that he in fact still has a job to do, and he needs to check back in with Lazar and Velgar to let him know where they're going, what came of the effects inside the crypt. Mission report. Operation Success. Stop. Have received information leading to Wulfgarde. Stop. Are making our way there on the back of Skyfire. Stop. Mission continues. Sorry, I could also do that.
Stop!
I also could do that in Morse code if we needed it to.
Right. I like the idea of Gret saying this and then Zeke just like flaring away and sending this message. A missive from Lazar and Velgar that Zeke blinks out to you in respective Morse code. Communication received. Stop. More information gathered from Rusco. Stop. Possible connections to primal passions. Stop. We'll get Rusco to Wulfgarde. Stop. Godspeed.
And I'll turn to the rest of the group and announce, Rusco's back. Not here, obviously, but with Lazar and Velgar.
Awesome. Is he alright?
Seems to be. They're getting information. He'll meet us in Wulfgarde.
Oh, Aiko and the crew as well.
Oh, you heard from Aiko?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that everyone is okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Aiko's okay. He was a bit cryptic. But they're going to Wulfgarde.
So we'll reconvene there.
Yes.
Excellent.
Fucking terrific. We're all going to fucking Wulfgarde. Fuck.
Yes, we fucking are. What is the deal with this? I feel like we should know beforehand, because obviously you're not this negative about a place you've never been.
Right. It's just not a good place for me to be going.
Why?
I just might know some people there, or maybe I won't, and maybe people won't really like me there, and there's just nothing I can fucking do. It's just dangerous, okay? It's dangerous for me.
Do we need to get you some sort of disguise, or...?
Actually, yeah, that could help.
Well, buddy, you're in a team. We're all here.
Okay, well...
Who can help him out?
Gret's gonna, take out his backpack. I can.
He's a disguise. Makeover.
On the back of a dragon, why not?
Beautiful. Whilst on Dragonback, secured by the psionic powers of Skyfire, Gret, Sazey, and Kynden engage in a makeover of
Skyfire just
Fennec.
glide for a bit, so it's nice and stable. We
Yeah.
don't want any wing flaps.
Dress me up, Captain. Dress me up.
And forgery kit as well, so I can get you, legit credentials, too.
Nice.
Oh man, this is great.
Yeah.
As this is occurring, Skyfire slowly begins to descend, doing a elegant glide down, and you can see the western coast of Duana laid out before you. From your dragon's eye view, this city resembles a jagged maze. Concentric walls fold out from the central bastion, with layered seawalls and raised towers to combat the raging tidal assaults. Statues of warriors, spears raised to the sky, act as lightning rods to draw in the destruction of the heavens. At the heart of it all, the Anvil, a mighty fortress that dares Zadie's god of storms to smash his hammer down upon it. In the bay and seas beyond Wulfgarde, an armada of ships lay siege. There is this unnatural fog that is all too reminiscent for you, Fennec, that is circling and swirling around the ships, but with your bird's eye view, you're able to see down and see the masts. It's hard to count them all, but there's somewhere in the vicinity of 30, maybe 40 odd ships that are down there. And as you are flying along, you can hear the odd rumbling of thunder. And as you begin to get closer down to Wulfgarde, you can see that this is a town that has built itself to resist storms. The walls are slanted in such a way that rain is just going to slick on down. You can see that roofs, most of the roofs of each of the buildings has these massive lightning rods that flare up into the sky. At the central keep at the Anvil, there are 4 primary lightning rods that are up there, and each of them is attached to large crystalline, what can only be described as batteries. And you can see that those batteries are crackling with energy. And the other interesting thing that you notice as you are flying over the top is, for those of you that have never been here before, most towns in Duana make use of a combination of torchlight and mage lights. And by their nature, mage light often resembles torchlight, has like a little bit of a flicker sort of glow to it. But the lights that you're seeing in Wulfgarde are this strong and consistent glow. Like they are utilizing the lightning as electricity to power a variety of mechanisms that are in there to enable them to have these non-magical means of light and machinery and objects that mimic arcana in ways that you've only seen the arcanists use previously. There's a very unique aspect, but a very militaristic and martial feel to this entire town, vastly different from what you've experienced in Haven previously. As Skyfire is swirling down, her wing comes across, and we will return to the inner depths of the Malcian Grotto. A lad has been speaking for a while. The primary pieces of information that you receive from a lad in regards to what you're searching for, Rusco, are as follows. You see, the glorious thing is about the Lord of Darkness is he's searching for a way to bring all within his fold. Vrathir, his avatar, his first sword, if you will, has found an ancient power, one that he was not ready to consume unto himself in his first war. He needed time, he needed resources, you see. He is searching for the primal passions, shards of a world titan or some such that he can use to make manifest within himself, harness powers that have only been seen by those that call themselves the Logral. Such fascinating things, really. The problem is, when you try and take such a piece of power into you, it can be a little bit troublesome. So he needs all those that are faithful to him so that they can consume and then he can in turn consume them. Thus he will have access to untold riches that will give him wells of mana and arcana to remake the world in his image. Haven is just the beginning, you see. Can you imagine, if you will, what would happen if all of Haven were to be consumed by dark? What if Haven became the new Gloomhold, the new city of darkness that could then spread across the land? Imagine, if you will, what would have happened if you weren't there.
Don't sound so excited about that.
Oh, well, what can I say? A little chaos. It's good for the soul.
A little bit of unpredictability, yes. Wanton destruction. Like what was tried here. Not so much.
Would it have been wanton destruction if you and your friends had intervened? Or would it have been more controlled? We'll never know.
Either way, he was going to destroy many people, many lives, and a city that was not worth destroying. We did what we could.
Indeed you did. Indeed we did. And many sacrifices were paid because of it. The primal passions. I thought they were a myth. This is troubling, Rusco. This is very troubling indeed if Vrathir is seeking to turn these powers. Barren. Pain. Perhaps he's already claimed one for himself. Perhaps that's how he was able to manifest in such a fashion at Haven and affect so many people. If he had more of those at his disposal. This merely raises the stakes, Rusco. If you wish to stay whilst we gather more information, I understand, but I think we have everything we need you here for. I think it is imperative that I get you back to where you are most needed.
Yes, and I think, do we need to collect these primal passions to keep them from Vrathir? What do they look like? What should I tell the others to look for them?
No, we need to stop. We need to stop the people. Hunting for the passions. They are legends. They are fragments. It is said that they are fragments of Sidonis herself. The way the myths tell it, Utix and Sidonis created the many varied planes of existence that housed the gods. And then they set about creating the prime material plane. The Logral were the race that they created together. Each was allowed to imbue them with various aspects of themselves. Utix, being the first Titan, was... and this is all conjecture, mind you, it was rumored that he was the one who took the forefront when it came to creating the outer planes and attempting to tame chaos. In doing so, it's said that Utyx was tainted by chaos, that it began to drive him mad. Sidonus being more matronly, it is told through legend that she took care of the Logral and was ensuring that the varied races were provided for. The madness that inflicted Utyx eventually spread to those that he had forged by his hands, which in turn led to something that is told as the Age of Invasion. It's when the Logral were said to have lost their dominance upon the prime material plane. During this time, Utyx's madness became so much that the other gods then conspired with Sidonus to imprison him. In doing so, Utyx vented all of his rage upon his once love, Sidonus, and killed her, fragmenting her energy. As energy cannot be destroyed, it merely gets transformed. These fragments of Sidonus were said to be spread throughout the many and varied realms of existence. They often landed and then, in turn, became places of power. Some began to refer to these as the primal passions. They are the pieces of Sidonus that contain wells of her power that embody certain aspects of her personality, things that she gifted to all those she created: love, compassion, hope, wrath, pain. I've never heard of anybody finding such a piece, such a fragment. But if one were to possess even a fragment of a world titan, I fear what they would do with it.
Well, I fear that is what Berthea and Callista are looking for. And I think at some point we are going to have to look for them as well. Otherwise, we are just chasing along behind them. We cannot get ahead of them unless we can find some of these things before they do.
You speak sense, Rusco. You speak sense, Mr. Wanwa. I will put my resources to this, but in the meantime...
For now, we have to be reactionary. But at some point, we have to start being proactive and get there first.
All right. Come. Let's get you where you need to be.
Very well. A lad.
Yes?
Remember part of our deal. No information to the other side.
The tongue flicks out and licks over his teeth. Oh, of course. No information to Baron, Brathea, or anyone associated with Dark Vigil.
Exactly. If I find out you've tried to betray me or these other people, I won't be helping you next time.
If all goes according to plan, I won't need your help next time. But you have my word. It's been a pleasure, Rusco. Wulfgarde. See you in more chaotic times. And the lad slides a finger down the rock wall, and slimy green scales begin to come out. And then he steps on through the portal. The last thing you see is those bulging green eyes and that overly long, pointed smile.
I wish I knew how to do that trick.
One day soon, my boy. One day soon. Come. And Wulfgarde heads on out of the Malcian Grotto to get you where you need to be. Hours have gone by. Aiko has returned to your side, been unable to find anything more than what you yourself found out from Odiel. The sky has darkened as your ship has raced along the various paths of the Titan's vein. You burst forth, and you can tell from the sound of water around you that you have hit the wide open ocean once more. The crashing of the surf hitting the shoreline. The fog lifts ever so slightly as your ship sails on through. Odiel at the helm. He beckons you forth to come to the prow of the ship once more. And as the serpent head begins to round a corner, you see the dark grey walls slanted against the waves of Wulfgarde. You can see with the spires of lightning rods up above it, the anvil, this massive keep that sits atop this cliff face. Running back and forth along the outer wall, you can see the outline of figures, guards, troops that are manning and keeping watch on what's happening. You see a few pointing down to where your warship is, and some arrows with fire on them go soaring through the sky and just plunk harmlessly into the water. Odiel just gives a chuckle. They like to do that from time to time. Keeps us faithful, knowing that we're being watched. It's a good gesture, one that I respect. And that's not what you need to see just yet. Look, Andromeda, Jarl, Phouka. Look out. See the might of the storm and what the tempest can bring. And as his hand opens, red lightning flares out, and as it does so, it crackles through the fog, and you can see that the head of his ship, all of the runes that are along the side begin to glow with red. The serpent comes alive and begins to shift and move and roar up into the sky, and as it does so, this red lightning crackles into the air, and you watch as all throughout the fog, 30, 40, 50 odd similar beams of red lightning crackle up into the sky. This is what we bring to bear, the mighty choir of Zades. And with this, we'll finally smash the anvil and open up the gateways of the realm. You can be a part of this, or you can just bear witness. It's entirely your decision. But I know, once you see it, once you feel it, you're going to understand. I was like you, once upon a time. I really was. It took the veil being ripped from my eyes to understand that there is art in war. There is art in conquest. You will see. You will.
Oh, I already know that I can bring a storm. Andromeda cracks open her great axe to unstring the chain, and she's gonna twist so that she's throwing it out towards the helm and the wheel of the ship. And when the chain and axe head wrap around the wheel, she's gonna give a mighty yank.
Okay, it's a wheel, so it's not moving, so I'm going to say you hit it automatically. Make a strength check for me.
18.
Your axe head of Valkyrie slams into the wheel, the chain wrapping around it. You yank on it. The helmsman, the Templar that is there with his shark armor, gets knocked, grabs onto the wheel, and as he does so, the lightning on his arms flares, and he's able to hold it steady.
Andromeda looks at our fine host and smiles. Oops.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. And you watch as several Templars standing there, double hand axes or axe and swords out, just sort of limbering themselves up, the red lightning crackling on their arms. Give a nod to Odiel. holster their weapons, but they're still standing there. You do see a couple of them nervously look back over their shoulder, stepping forth onto the deck. Broken Spear stands and has a look out, and then just looks over and matches eyes with you, the red ruby glinting, just watching you, waiting. And you hear a faint as Aiko's gripped his loot just by your side. You just hear a faint whisper, "Don't worry, I'm here with you. We'll fuck him up. Yeah, we'll do it." Oh boy, Aiko. Ooh. And Odiel just looks at you, looks down at Aiko. "Is that it?"
No, I'm like super embarrassed. I missed, and she goes for a headbutt.
Right, make an attack.
25.
Nice.
25?
Yeah.
You slam your head right into his. You hear the crunch as his nose cracks and this dark blue blood spurts out as he gets knocked back. It's quite the strike you have on you. So is this what you want to do?
Uh-huh.
Clear a space. Clear a space, everybody. I'll happily accept your challenge, Andromeda. Jarl de la Phouka. You need to see my strength firsthand. It's perfectly fine by me. Storm Singers whirl around on the ship and begin to clear a space. Broken Spear standing there watching as this scurrying of ants is happening around. Flying overhead, a dark shadow takes us and then lands on the grassy fields near the entranceway to Wulfgarde. Dropping down from the back of Skyfire, Gret, Sazey, Kynden, and Fennec, with a shimmer of lightning taking her draconic form away and transforming into the sapphire-scale dragonborn Skyfire strides forth with you as the five of you begin to make your way towards Wulfgarde. Fennec, you kindly describe what you now look like after the makeover.
Yeah, well, because Fennec's skin is blue, it's a hard thing to hide, so they've done their best, but the best they could do is a sort of like dull gray with like a blue tinge, but in hopes to, well, keep people from staring. There's like a very mean looking scar across his face, the kind of thing that most people would take a look at but not want to like keep looking, just, you don't want to be caught staring kind of thing. He's put on an extra couple layers with a good cowl, and he's still feeling very on edge, even though he doesn't quite look like himself.
The five of you walk up to the gates of Wulfgarde. The bright blue bulbs that stand outside, highlighting, you can see the portcullis has been lowered down and there's a drawbridge that is drawn up. The guards call out to you as you walk up, but Skyfire just steps forth into the light and you can hear a scurrying as the drawbridge is dropped down and the portcullis comes on up. The five of you walk on through, and as you do, coming forth from the shadows, watching as you arrive, Rusco steps forth, rejoining you. And as we slowly pull out from these six individuals as they walk into the streets of Wulfgarde, we hear the booming of thunder, lightning, in the depths of a ship. White light beginning to stream from her face. Val begins to stir once more. No coin flip was done by our players, so a coin flip will be done by me to close out the episode.
It's a happy
That's
coin.
Wait, if it's a positive, does it mean it's a good thing for you and a bad thing for us? Or
it could be a
Wait,
good thing for an enemy. It could be a good
The
thing.
DM's not against us, is he?
I beg to positively.
And that's where we're going to end episode 8 of Twist of Fate.
The DM will either confirm or deny.
Yeah.
whether or not it's a good for who?
Yes,
Confirm or
kind of
deny. Fireflies slowly drift in the air, their soft lights glowing around the face of Sazey, but not as we know her. Younger, hair of pure white. The lines and creases on her face are faded away as her lilac-purple eyes stare down with pure joy in a wooden cradle that slowly rocks back and forth. We can hear the notes of a beautiful song echoing in and around, and the cooing of the small little form that lies within. Tiny, this little bundle of joy that brings such light and life into her mother and her song. Walking up slowly behind Sazey, we see this shadow as these arms encircle around the white-haired Sazey. There is the scent of smoke and ash in the air. The fireflies begin to burn and cinders begin to spark alight. Heat begins to ebb off, and the cradle, as it rocks back and forth, starts to do so more violently as dark black scorch marks mar its surface. The shadow that enwreaths around Sazey, one eye glowing blue, the other green, begins to warp and shift as those arms wrap around Sazey. They envelop her and consume her. Sazey is slowly taken over by this dark flame as these eyes merge in with her and horns begin to curl out and around. Now looking down upon the tiny figure that lies within, this baby that is scrunching up its face and trying to comprehend all that is around, red hair writhing as the scorch marks on the cradle around it are growing slowly closer and closer. That smell of smoke and flame is all around us now. That spectre that looms over this child, our dearest Tiny, horns curling around, hands of dark black purple flame reaching out. Never fear, dear, Mother's here. Tiny awakens. The dream so vivid and clear in her mind. Her throat feels raw like she's been screaming all night long. But checking, slowly coming to her senses. The damp that is around her, the sea air that floats through, and this awful, creeping sensation shudders down her shoulders and her spine. She is not alone. It's all right, dearest Tiny. Mother's here, I've got you. A skeletal hand wipes the cold, clammy sweat from Tiny's brow, fingers tracing down her cheek to her chin, softly turning it so that she can see the decrepit gaze of Callista. Love in her eyes, she thinks, but she doesn't truly know anymore. This dream, it's not the first time she's had it. And that person she met in the tower, so familiar and yet so distant.
Don't worry, dear Tiny. That pain that you feel, it is a consequence of being in my presence. A shiver as Tiny turns within Callista's embrace and sees at the foot of the bed, looming, standing there like an ominous dark thundercloud, Baron, eyes of purple flame staring down, a sorrowful look upon his face, that sword of midnight sheathed at his side, his hand twitching along the hilt. I understand your fears, your pain, Tiny. Questions I'm sure you have. Unfortunately, time is not on our side. You must play a vital part in what is to come. And for that, you will have my eternal thanks. Twist of Fate is Lydia Campbell as Sazey Willowvale, Chelsey Styut as Val, Adam Klassen as Fennec Nazran, Melanie Ellyce as Kynden Treacle, Nikolai Witschl as Gret Vex, Ian Greenwell as Rusco Wanwa, Chelsey McPherson as Andromeda de la Phouka, and Braye as our narrator. With Adam Klassen as our composer, Braye and Melanie Ellyce as our editors, Callum Rudyk as our sound engineer, with mastering by Jordan Klassen, and Braye and Melanie Ellyce as our sound designers. You can find us on Instagram and YouTube at Twist of Fate Adventures, or follow our website, shows.acast.com/twist-of-fate. Links in the episode description. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us so that you don't miss out when our episodes drop. Your reviews are wonderful too. Those words and ratings help our story reach across the realm to find other adventurers seeking comfort through storytelling. Our next episode flies forth on the backs of dragons. Until then, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. May you challenge destiny and shape your own twist of fate.